about these shows. I mean, what's your views on we mentioned Ollie, like on the Rashford thing? We're getting it in the comments. Just he's trash. He's no good. He's a headless chicken. But if he's that bad, why is he producing so much?
People need to relax and calm down. That we as a fan base, are so quick to throw away our own talented players. And what frustrates me, is that I'll hear things like, "Oh, Rashford's trash," or "Martial is trash. Get them out of the club. We don't need them." But then hear the same people saying that, say, "Oh, but Dan James could be really good if we had the right manager." What are you chatting about? What kind of foolishness is that? You know what I'm saying? If you're gonna back the team, back every single player, fam. I'm not saying that Marcus Rashford is perfect, because no player is perfect. A lot of our players have deficiencies. But the whole point of this game called football is a team game, and it's the team balance that hides our deficiencies. And last season, we got the best out of Martial, Rashford, Greenwood. Pogba had a good stint after lockdown. Bruno has come in and has done well. So if our players are producing and performing, yes, there might be things that are frustrating you about them, wish to improve, but they're still performing. It should be more of an excitement thing of, if he does sort this thing out, what a player we have in our hands. Yeah. But instead it's, he hasn't got this, so get him gone. I'm sick of it.
I find it, as you say, mate, I find it just like staggering. Like I'm looking at Rashford now, and I'm using Rashford as an example because he seems to get it. Him and Pogba, they get it more than anybody else, and the fan base is always split on them. It's like as you say, I'm consistent with both. I look at all my players, but we look at this season so far, right? He's scored. I mean, this season Rashford scored in 50% of the games he's played in, and he's assisted in 22%. So his goal contribution level is like 70. Actually, I'm going to get rid of international stuff because international stuff is ridiculous. Sorry, yeah. I'm going to get rid of that. I'm just going to do it on a club level. It's even better. So it's 52% of games he's scored in and 26% of games that he's assisted in so far, as an example. He has 4 assists and 8 goals. If you equate that across, and I'm doing this live, so I haven't pre-prepared this here, so I don't know what's going to come up. Let's just look at it this way. So that's 12 goal contributions, but he's played 1,379 minutes. You divide that by 90. It's about 15 games in total, right? Because you have to consider that when he came on against Leipzig, he scored a hat-trick, but he did it in half an hour. So he's played around 15 games, if you add it up. And in 15 games, 15.3, he's got 12 goal contributions. So if you were to divide that by the 15.3 games, it's about 78% of games he is effective at putting out outputs. Now, for me, I know that goals and assists are not always that great stats for all positions on the field, but I think for attacking players, they're a massive barometer. But if we compare that to I want to look at last season. Last season was his best ever season as a professional football player in terms of his outputs. If we look at that as a percentage level, he's pretty much there again if we look at this. So he got 30 goals and assists combined last year. That was across 3,511 minutes. So we worked this out. That's 39 games, right? So that divided by 39. So look, he was at 76% output ratio last year. So far this season, he's at 78%. So he's actually improved, right? And if for the next 2-3 seasons, he improves by 2-3-4% a year, up until he hits, say, 25, 26 and then stops. Imagine a player that in 80% of the games he plays in creates you or scores you a goal. That's amazing. It's legitimately amazing. I don't understand what more. He doesn't need to do any more than that to be a top-class player. I think if he wants to move on to world-class level, it's being influential in 80, 90% of games. But even that, right? Think about all the world-class stars we all remember as kids and years ago. They didn't perform in every game. They all have games in a season where they kind of go missing. Have you all seen that as well with certain football fans nowadays? Not just forget Rashford for a minute. I see it all the time. We all know how good KDB is, and we banter it, right? I know KDB is one of the best footballers in the world. If he goes 3 or 4 games without playing well, do any of you find it weird that the reaction is, "See, I told you weren't that good anyway"? You see that kind of thing a lot. Why?
Yeah, and to be fair, as much as I joke about it on Midnight Vibes about Obama who, Obama what, Obama where, fam, you know what I mean? The slander that he's getting now is yo, fam, he scored 20 plus goals for last how many seasons? Like Indiana tried to put my man in slander stand. I was like, what the heck are you talking about? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, football fans nowadays are like, if you're not producing for me now, as soon as you start producing, that's it, you're done. I'm like, you've got United fans and rival fans saying Martial's finished and should get sold. I'm like, what? He was on top. He was one of our best players last season, and just because he had a bad start.
AJ, I'm against Martial though. I'll be honest. Before even last season, I think as football fans are just flip flops. That's all it is. You know, they're
at least you're
like,
consistent with your agenda, fam. It stinks, but it's okay, fam. Like, it's all good.
I'm just that person, but I think football fans just flip flop. It's whenever they suit, and now there's a lot of football fans are sheep. They, you know, it's only when it suits them. And you know, some footballers have pride. They got the pride. You know, it's like I say, some of these footballers are like they don't want to admit certain things certain times. It's like that ex that you really miss, but you don't want to send that text because of your pride. That's how they are. So, like, that's why I can't really understand certain football fans. But this is what comes to the game. We've got social media, which allows people to have their opinion. The football is a game of opinion, but some opinions is just wild. Like Arsenal fans, why are you turning on Aubameyang? Like you look, and it's crazy. Like Partey, if Partey comes back and doesn't perform well, you made that song for him, and if you look turn on him, it's ridiculous. Like, like back your team. I'm not a fan of Dan James. I'm not a fan of Martial. I'm not a fan of quite a few players, but I back my team, and that's what it has to be.
I have no idea why you're not a fan of Martial, but it is what it is, isn't it?
I just think it's his attitude, mate. I just think it's his attitude, and that's the
what
thing.
Attitude, bro?
Body language says it all for me.
Body
Terry,
language, bro.
Terry,
come
sorry
on,
to
man.
come off the subject, but what's your thoughts on Martial, please?
Okay. I'm just gonna say this. I get it out the way. People out here acting like the eye test means anything. Half of people who watch football don't really understand football. That's including myself. Acting as if your eye test means everything. It doesn't mean crap. Because at the end of the day, we aren't football experts. The only thing that I can take for guaranteed is output. And Martial, he isn't doing well right now. But I think it's just a form thing. So it's not fair to judge players on a small sample. So you want to look at Martial, look at the big picture, then judge him.
Yeah, and I think he's been very, very good. I mean, look, and I just started doing something while you gentlemen were talking. And who, in your opinion, gents, have been the best to? I want to get the name of these the positioning right of these players. But who, in your opinion, have been the best to inside forward stroke kind of wingers? In the Premier League for the past 4 or 5 years, in your opinion?
Oh, it's easy. Salah and Mane.
Okay, so I haven't done
in the past how many years?
It's just over the past say 3 to 4 seasons.
Yeah, Salah and Mane.
So Salah and Mane, right? So
Sane has an insane output. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and he does. But I'm going through this now, right? And I'm going to come back to you with the numbers in just a moment, because I want to again. I think what you said is right, Yusuf. The eye test is an interesting one. We all know some. Do you know, like, you know, all the top players that like are amazing in attacking positions. When you're in midfield, it's different, right? But the elite of the elite, like people, the other day when God rest his soul, when Maradona died, everybody was saying, "See, we all loved him because stats weren't important when he was a player." The man's his stats were outrageous, people. Like his stats were absolutely out of this world good. Like this guy, like he was out of this world. But people, there's a lot of people out there that want to sort of act like they were not. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's almost like I've never really understood it to a certain extent, where I sort of sit there to myself and think, I don't really get why people like put it down. Most of the top attacking players in the history of football have outstanding statistics. Now, just to give you an example here, the best 2 inside forwards in the league, by the way, playing for a much better team with a much better manager than Manchester United. Sadio Mane, right? In the last 4 years, scored or assisted in 58, 66, 56, and 65% of games he played in. Mo Salah, 60 so far this season, 76, then it was 66, 71. And then, of course, 4 seasons ago, he had that amazing year where he scored or assisted in 117% of games that he played in. So Marcus Rashford last season, and so far this year, by the way, when he turned 22 and 23, prior to that, man was a teenager, right? Is producing in games and getting outputs to the level. Now, can his decision-making get better? Yes. Can he become more clinical? Yes. Can his movement still get better? Yes. There is still room for improvement. But yet, at a 78% contribution to game ratio, people act like his decision-making is the worst in the league, that he lacks creativity, and that he does nothing right. Can you see where I'm coming from here? I'm not say that he's as good as those two players. And this is where people get confused. They go, why are you saying he's as good? I'm not. I'm stating that your hyperbolic nonsense that he is a bad decision maker, he's trash, he makes too many wrong decisions, he isn't clinical enough, he isn't consistent enough. How can he not be consistent but produce in nearly 80% of the games that he plays in? And if he isn't consistent in terms of producing in games, why are his numbers as good as the two over the last three seasons, as good as the two best inside forwards in the league? It doesn't make sense to anybody with a brain. We've got Eyetest on the show now that's probably going to tell us, Eyetest, if Rashford is as bad as you will say he is, why is he producing outputs at the same level as superior players with better managers at better clubs? How is that plausible if he's so bad?
Well, first of all, let me address the people. Ladies and gentlemen, Terry is an example of what stats do to you. When you smoke too much stats, this is what happens to you. You do silly comparisons. Rashford ain't levels like these players.
So again, I've got to stop you. I know people don't like me cutting my guests off, but you don't listen. Your ears full of wax or something, bro. I didn't say he was as good as these two. I asked a very simple question. If Rashford is as bad as you're saying he is, how is he producing at such a high level that the level of outputs is comparable? How is he doing that if he's so bad? And don't say penalties, because Mo Salah takes a lot of penalties as well. How is it? Answer the question. How is it plausible that Rashford is scoring and assisting at the same ratio as the two best inside forwards in the league if he's as bad as you say? I don't understand. Explain how.
You see, I don't just look at goals and assists. I said this so many times.
No, but I'm asking you about stop. I'm asking you about goals and assists. If he's as bad as you say at decision making, bad with creativity, bad footballer, how is he doing that? Because could you show me an example in the past of a bad footballer, like you say he is, who's produced at the same level as the best players in the league? How is he doing it in a bad team with a trash manager? How is it plausible? Just answer the question, Eyetest.
Whenever I've come here, I've never criticized Rashford's goal scoring. I've talked about his overall game. I don't believe this guy does enough in a game when he's not scoring.
But you're not answering my question. Stop being a politician. How is he producing so much if his game isn't good enough? How?
Yeah, but I'm not denying that he scores a lot of goals. I've never denied he scores a lot of goals.
But then this is where it then comes down to. If he's not doing enough, but he's doing as much as the best players in the league, how is it fair to ask for more?
No, because I'm looking at his overall game. I'm looking at what he does.
Do you rate Ronaldo?
I don't.
But his overall game as an attacking player is to create and score goals, and he's doing that to the same level and the same degree as superior players to him. So how is it acceptable to ask for mountains more from him? How much more do you want? If he goes up another 10, 20%, he's at 100% ratio. If he goes up another 12%, 20%, how much more? How much more do you want from him?
Listen, if you look at his dribbles per game, his chances created per game, if you look at No, because you're chatting rubbish. I'm not having you lie. He attempts the same amount of dribbles per game as Mo Salah and completes the same percentage. So what? Let me compare a sentence, please.
Yeah, Terry, let my man.
But he doesn't answer the questions. That's why I keep pulling him back, because he keeps making these accusations and then just goes off on a tangent.
I know. But we
go on then, bro. Go on, bro.
He scores goals.
Go on.
He scores goals. Yeah.
Yep.
But I don't, considering that he's not dribbling enough. creating enough chances, contributing in a build-up play. I don't believe he's scoring enough. If you're not going to do these other stuff enough, I believe you need to be scoring more.
What
goals.
other things? So what other? Tell me what other things? What other things?
Like chances created.